And we, once again, Maddie Matt, are back.
We in the heezy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll give our wonderful listening audience a moment to get involved here. It's been an interesting week as we are continuing to develop our new podcast stream. I didn't give it a new name. Everybody gonna be saying that next week. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly.
Pad Padcast. I don't know what it is, but yeah, this has been fun. Just learning about the many aspects of podcasting, as well as really trying some new software this week. So for those who don't know, this week we are broadcasting, but let me see. I might not be able to do that. Can you hear any feedback? This is the stuff we want to check real quick. I'll let this. Yeah, this has been trying some new software this week. So for those, are you able to hear that? This week
Yes,
we
I
are,
did. You played it back.
but, yeah, that's because I'm playing it live from my page. This is the stuff.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
You played it back.
yeah, that's because I'm playing it mute that out. Page. Mute that down. You still the Mac? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So we will see how that goes. You still the Mac? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we will see how that goes. You still the Mac? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Am I looping?
No, you sound good, but I did hear myself twice. Let me just see if that still comes through. Just want to make sure we've got all devices down from an audio perspective. Back just a little bit, but all right. So, Maddie Matt,
Yes, sir.
we are back with EP 19. The goal today is to. So, Maddie Matt,
Yes, sir.
we are back with EP 19. Yeah, I got a full loop happening in my ear. The goal today is to. Maddie Matt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, it sounds like you're playing it back.
full loop. Yeah. Full loop. Let me see something.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are having some technical difficulties. Please hang in there with us. We'll get this straightened out. This is just one of the things that happens. You know, we this is a grassroots effort, and we're going to be working these kinks out. So please be patient with us. You're muted. You're muted.
Okay, I'm coming back
It showed you on mute, TC.
in. Yeah, I wasn't on mute though.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to come back in now.
Okay.
Trying this again. Wednesday. Okay, I see all of you should be back. Matt, can you hear me?
Go ahead, speak again. I can't hear you, TC. I can't hear you, nor do I see you.
All right, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, it ain't supposed to be this difficult.
Yeah. I hear you.
Oh my. Yeah, it is supposed to be a little easier than this. And normally my world is pretty calm, but
Hey, that's all right.
today is a little more hectic than normal. So first of all, I appreciate y'all sticking in there. We already told y'all we was trying to get some new stuff going over here. I just thought I'd had all the bugs worked out, and that wasn't so. But yeah, we're gonna make it do what it do anyways. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Matt, if you can hear me, I can definitely hear you, and hopefully the listening audience is able to kind of key in on this as well. I think my number one fan out there says she can hear us. Let me
Oh,
make sure I
good.
pull that back. Because that's really what matters. So, all right, we got 7 people on board so far, and I want to make sure that I take the time to acknowledge when we can a few folks. But let's get things started. You know, this has been a little bit of a road, and we are on our way.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have another opportunity to speak to some folks and share a little life lessons, and more importantly, keep this podcast in motion. So let me ask Anita a quick question. Where is she currently logged on? Because I'm still learning this streaming software. Anita,
I
if you
know
can
she's
hear me,
on her
where are you
phone.
logged on? Facebook or the YouTube page? And just for our listening audience, as she responds to that, we are now streaming on both platforms. The goal here is to really begin driving traffic over to the YouTube page,
Yeah.
as much as possible, because you know a lot of people aren't necessarily properly friended, and eventually this podcast will leave my personal page and go to an actual page designed just for conversations with Uncle T. So. I think in the weeks to come, we'll kind of get everybody where they need to be. But for now, we're gonna test and make sure that we can see these platforms. I haven't seen another response from her. If she is responding, it's not coming
You know what,
in.
TC? I'm sure she's on the YouTube page.
She's
That's the
on
link
YouTube.
that I
Okay.
sent her. Yeah.
So that's interesting where it comes up. But I tell you what, let's just jump into this. I think our viewers are out there. That's good to know that she's looking from the YouTube platform. I wanted to start our segments off, Matt. We talked about this. I wanted to start our segments off weekly with something that a lot of people don't necessarily focus on, and that is, something good that happened to you. And so I wanted us to have a quick, at the top of our segment, chat about something good that happened to you this week. And it can be a personal interaction. It could be something you read about or something you heard about. But I want to be the opposite of the 6 o'clock news, which their motto is, if it bleeds, it leads. So we're going to flip things around a little bit over here with Conversations with Uncle T and talk about anything that comes to mind that was just nice this week. I'm gonna let you kick that one off, man. I got one that you're probably not going to expect, but you'll see where I go with it. So, what anything nice happened to you this week, Matt?
Well, you know what? Matter of fact, before we got on, my wife, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my uncle, which is my wife's uncle, we just got back from visiting my wife's aunt at a nursing home.
Okay.
And TC, I don't know when the last time I visited someone in a nursing home, but that was such a unique experience. And we sat in the little sitting area and we started singing old hymns. And I know there are other people there that heard us. And then when we got ready to leave, one of the employees there said, "Thank y'all so much I heard y'all singing. Thank y'all so much. We really enjoyed it." And that warmed my heart, knowing that helped the employees there. And it also did something for the other people, the residents of that nursing home. But it just blessed me. And I know it blessed my wife's aunt as well. It was just a good feeling leaving there, knowing that, some seeds were sown. And because I know that in nursing homes, there are people who don't get visitors. And so for us to be sitting in the sitting area with people around us and we were singing hymns, man, it was just a beautiful feeling.
That's
beautiful
awesome.
feeling.
Just impacting strangers' lives that
Yeah,
are just in
man.
the midst, which is all about being in a place and leaving good energy, right? You should
Right,
always leave a
right,
place better than you found it.
right,
So I
absolutely.
got one for you.
All right. Shock me,
And
man.
when we just think about how easy it is to be nice and how beneficial it is just to be nice, there are a lot of things that come to mind. But I was thinking most recently, this past week, what was it that I said, wow, that was really nice? Here's what it was. The vice presidential debate was carried out in such a nice manner that we forgot that's how politicians are supposed to act. These
Right.
guys agreed, disagreed, complimented each other, spoke about, I agree with you on that. Disagree with you on this. Think it should have been this way, that way. You're absolutely right. Ended the debate. No, started with handshakes, ended with handshakes, wives on stage, wives shaking hands,
Oh,
went
wow.
over, shook the moderator's hands. It was nice. It was
Wow.
nice to see two adults in the room having serious conversations that we needed to have from two political different viewpoints that both had substance. So I was thinking of all the kissing babies and cool things that are out there in social media world that I could have found. That was the thing that hit me. And I said it on my Facebook page that it was just nice seeing two adults in the room, bro.
Yeah.
And seeing two guys be gentlemen and just,
Yeah.
agree to disagree and keep it pushing. So that's my nice thing this week.
I
Probably
think that
wasn't one that
shocked
you think
everybody.
about, but worthy of speaking about.
I think that was a total surprise to everybody.
Yeah,
I don't
for
think
sure.
I don't think anybody tuned in and was expecting that to happen.
Right. Especially
Yeah.
all the rhetoric that we've heard prior. So, yeah. Somebody
Yeah.
said when he got back, though, Trump was going to get in his butt about it. I don't know. You was just a little too soft. You shook his
Yeah.
hand. Oh,
That's good, man. I think, hey, man,
yeah,
I like starting off like that.
yeah, yeah,
Something
yeah.
nice that has
Something
happened.
nice.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
good.
it's it's free. It's free to
Yeah,
do nice stuff. And for
yeah,
those of us who do that, or at least put thought in it, there are so many benefits on the backside,
yeah,
karma and all that good stuff
yeah.
that just comes out of just being nice. And
Hmm.
it's so easy to do, and so many times we probably forget. And one of the things that this segment will do for us as we develop the show is make us think about something that was nice.
Yeah,
And what happens is when you deliberately begin seeking something, guess what you find? You
that's
find
right.
that. We're
That's
going to
right.
be thinking about that. We're going to be taking notice, and we're going to be doing hopefully more of that because it's contagious, right?
Yeah,
It's like if I smile at you, you smile back. You don't even know
yeah,
why you smiling, right? It's because
yeah.
I'm smiling at you. It's the same magic and just being nice, right?
I mean, TC, I'm gonna tell you something that's weird, man. Is is I have an expectation that people are gonna be nice. I do, and let me tell you
Yeah.
why. Now, let me tell you why it trips me out when somebody is not nice.
Yeah.
If I'm walking, no, if I'm coming up to the door at a store and I grab the door and I hold it open for somebody to come in or for somebody to come out, I'm always like, when somebody says thank you, man, I be blown away because I've gotten so many times where I hold the door open and people just walk right in as
Walk
if
right on in.
I'm a butler or something, like I'm
Yeah.
Benson
Yeah.
and I work there. And it bothers me when people do that. It really bothers
Yeah.
me. I always say the next time it happens, and I haven't done this yet, but I say it all the time. I said next time I open the door for somebody and they walk in and they don't say thank you, I'm gonna tap them on the shoulder and I'm gonna ask them. I mean, who do you think I am? I'm not your butler, man. Listen, all you have to say is thank you because I don't have to hold the door open. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. Even though I'm thinking that this person probably is not going to say thank you, I still hold the door open anyway because
Well,
it's
be the
just my
bigger person.
nature
No,
to be nice.
yeah, be the bigger person, and that
Yeah,
is where you really are now
yeah,
taking ownership of being nice. Because guess what? Some people aren't going to acknowledge you. Some people may come through the door with a little bit of an attitude, and what? So what? You open the door,
yeah,
but you get the credit still for being
yeah,
nice, and that's
yeah,
what it's about, right?
yeah,
That's what it's about. No, good
yeah,
stuff. We'll
yeah,
definitely keep that
yeah,
in motion, and hopefully you, the listening audience, will do the same. It's so easy to be nice, and I
yeah,
think that we uh, underestimate the power of just being nice, right? And
yeah,
in our everyday lives, and it don't have to be nothing way over the top. Just being nice.
yeah,
So this week's topic, I don't want you to think is going to be doom and gloom, but is an absolute necessary topic for a lot of reasons. Number one, um, I am about to share with you in real time what it means to stand through grief, right? Our subject of tonight is standing through grief. Um, Grief is a powerful, powerful thing. And all of us will have our turn if you live at grieving because something or someone will leave your life. And you don't have to have someone die to grieve.
right,
Divorce is a level of grieving.
Yeah.
to simply lose something or lose contact with someone or something that you cherish, you can grieve that thing. Um,
Mhm.
uh, I am coming from the traditional sense of when we hear the word, and that's loss of life.
Right.
And I am in a unique time in my life because at no other time have I had it this thick. And so
Mhm.
I felt like what a great opportunity to continue to help others as it equally helps me to cathartically talk through and share the good and bad of it. And I am not a professional counselor or any of the above. I'm just a guy going through it in real time. And I've done some things that have helped me, and maybe we can collaborate and share those tonight, and they will help you as well. The
Mm.
purpose is to have the discussion, talk about the good and bad, and hopefully leave you in a better position with this topic than when you came in. Um, there are many of us who are in the same boat, grieving the loss of life of someone. One thing about our age demographic is when you're in your 50s and 60s, believe it or not, it is normal to be the caretaker in both directions, taking care of our elderly parents if they're here, and still counseling our adult children. So we're
Mhm.
seriously in
Yeah.
nurturing mode in that 50 to 60. Because in a lot of cases, our parents are still around. You put 20
Mhm.
years on that, that only puts them in their 80s. And then these kids, depending on how soon you start having them, they in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and you're counseling for real now. You're beyond
Right.
parenting. You're counseling because they ain't always got it together. They ain't always figured it out, and you
Right.
still mom and dad. So we're in major demand at this stage of our life. And if you're not here, keep living, you'll understand what we're talking about. Um, so I think it's good to know we're in good company. This is a conversation that should resonate with quite a few people in this demographic. Those who are younger, pay attention, listen up, and know that you too shall cross this bridge someday, and some of these nuggets could help you. And then for some of us who have had to encounter these things sooner in life, you too will be able to relate to some of the things that we're going to talk about here. And, I would like to, make this thing as open conversation as possible to where we could, collaborate because age has got nothing to do with understanding grief and moving through it. We all have had to figure that out, and I don't care what age you are. So this isn't just an age thing. So, um, but Matt, I think I want to start with the fact that I shared a little bit of transparency last week with our listeners as I was bringing the podcast back online. A lot of folks are, like, what have you been up to? How are things going? So forth and so on. Um, I have had a rocky 2 years. Let
Yeah.
me just say that. I think that's a good way of
Yeah.
putting it.
Yeah.
And have had to really pick myself up and be sometimes my own cheerleader to get through those moments.
Mhm.
I'll highlight a couple of areas and then I'll kind of toss it to you, Matt, to direct some questions about
Yeah.
where I'm at that might help others. But for the listening audience, in December of 2022, I lost my wife of 40 years to pancreatic cancer. And it was devastating. And it, as with anyone who has gone through that, I'm not the first, won't be the last. It is a devastating diagnosis that happens very quickly. We were diagnosed in June. She passed in December. Not a lot of time to even get your mind around what is happening, let alone your world, as you know, has just been destroyed. Just like literally
Mhm.
like a nuclear bomb hits your house and everything you know is different in that twinkling of an eye.
Mhm.
So fast forward 20 months as I'm finally getting through multiple stages of grieving, feeling pretty good about healing and trying to move forward in life. My mom is diagnosed in June of this year with lung cancer and passes August 15th. So when I tell you I am standing in grief at this moment, I'm standing. Um,
Yeah.
my spouse's passing has helped me, but nothing prepares you for the loss of two incredibly valuable people who really are the pillars and the reason for you being the
Mm.
human being that you are. So
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm
Yeah.
in it. Yeah.
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 Man, TC, that well, I hate to use it, and I don't want to say hate, but it's tough to say that I was blessed to kind of have a front row seat to
Mm-hmm.
what you were experiencing because our relationship is we're very close, and so you've shared with me um, even before Connie transitioned and your mom transitioned. But here's what I want to know because man, I watched you and I saw the strength, man, and I know that it wasn't just you being strong for TC. You got four daughters,
Mm-hmm.
that you
And a
had to
son.
stand for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know they were grieving the loss of their mom.
Right, right, right.
But
Their
here's my
first mom.
question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How has your life changed since losing or not losing, but how has your life changed since Connie's transition?
Transition. Yeah. Multiple ways. Um, the first is learning how to be alone. Okay. When you marry your high school sweetheart and you 61 and you spend 40 years with somebody, I've never been alone. Um, and we had an interesting marriage because we went through a divorce and then remarried. So I will say there were some years there after the military where I kind of had a little bit of a single life, but we ultimately repaired the relationship and remarried. And so 90% of my life has been with this person. Having someone there that has your back, your whole psyche is always about you and other people. I was just telling somebody yesterday, it's the first time in my life I've been able to just plan for me. I've never in my life been able to just do what I want.
Mm,
No consequences, not have to consider nobody else. We did everything fast. We was in high school, we ended up having babies, we got married, went to the middle. We was way out of sync in the first place. I don't advise
mm,
nobody to do that. We was just zipping through life. But what it ended up doing is galvanizing what I understood as life. So now it's a bit of a struggle learning how to be alone, knowing that it's okay to be alone, but not having a reference of being alone. And so there are times now when I sit here in this big house and I'm like, it's just me. And it's a weird feeling not to just have somebody to talk to.
mhm.
Um, but I'll tell you, out of all the things that I had to adapt to, being alone, just kind of learning how to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
learning how to do your laundry, learning how to cook for yourself. People laugh and chuckle if you've been sick, but you're talking about, I am fully dysfunctional.
You
I've
had
never had to do
to
that.
you had to learn where everything is in the house.
There are things, Matt, it's stuff I still ain't found. I went down into the pantry where she has this amazing pantry of. We did a lot of entertaining, so there's different silverware and different stuff. That's a shame because I didn't know where that stuff was. I went down there and found a whole room full of stuff that. Oh, this is where that's at. Oh, that's where my one certain crock pot, whatever, would disappear to when it left the kitchen. So there's that. Then there's another. We've got the storage. This woman was crazy about Christmas. I have a massive storage room, and half of it is nothing but Christmas. You know,
Wow.
my house had 10 to 12 individually colored trees in them every
Wow.
Christmas. So when I go in that room, there's and then she's coordinated it, you know, with the clear containers. So there's decorations and a tree, and you know, so I go in those places now, and I'm just like totally lost. Like I don't. If you come to my house this Christmas, there will probably be one little silver tree sitting in the vestibule when you come in, unless my daughters, and they will come over and do it. I can't. I don't know where that stuff is, right? So
Hey, hey,
it's the
TC.
little stuff.
Hey, here's another one too. So my wife, she washes clothes, she
Yeah,
folds them, and she put
yeah,
all of undergarments, t-shirts, and all that stuff. She folds them really neat and nice in the
yeah,
my drawer. And when I open them up, man, it's really nice.
yeah,
Even if I mess it up looking for a particular t-shirt, maybe the
yeah,
next day I open it and she's did it again. You know, she fixed it up for me.
yeah,
Dude, I would be
bro,
Me, I would be
bro.
taking stuff out of the dryer, probably throwing it in the drawer. I don't know if it get folded nice and neat. Let me ask you, did you experience that?
Listen to me. So the first, so first of all, because I was always, you know, in corporate America, um, what I took care of were my dress clothes, my suits, my shirts
Right,
went to the
right,
cleaner,
right,
my
right,
clothes went to the cleaner.
right,
These are what I call after five clothes. I don't know
right.
nothing about them. That's underwear, that's jeans, that's
Yeah,
anything other than what I'm wearing to the office. That was not my department. And
right.
forever, for like
Yeah.
35, 40 years. So
Hmm.
once this happens and I'm trying to pick my life up and figure out how do you maneuver around the house every day? I mean, you know, the crazy thing is we were both spoiled. She never worried about what was going on outside. Constance didn't work for 30 years. Okay. So, and this was by choice. This is what we chose for our family. So I have been the financial provider for over 30 years. Constance has never had to leave the house other than doing projects and things that she wanted to do. She didn't have to pay no bills. Boom. So that's what allowed me to do what I did at my pace because somebody's got my back. Somebody's got
Right.
the house. So all she got to do is spend money and make the house beautiful and keep stuff up and do what she do. So when all of a sudden now I got everything, starting with laundry, something simple as laundry. Matt, first time I did laundry, I went in my room after about 2 weeks and said, this laundry is not leaving like it used to. I guess it's up to me. So I made two piles, Matt, whites and everything else. That's it. And before I could get them downstairs, baby girl, Michaela walked in the room and said, Dad, what what are you doing? You should have at least 3 or 4 piles of. I'm like, what? These are white, and this is everything else. So, you know, I laugh at it, but I'm like, I was truly dysfunctional. I've paid no attention to that. When I come home, she wouldn't put my stuff away, but they'd be in baskets folded up. So in the evenings when I came home and she had done laundry that day, I took my clothes upstairs and I put them away. And so something as simple as that was a big thing for me to really understand. And trust me, I had to go through it. I ruined some clothes,
Boy, I tell
shrunk some
you what,
stuff up, all kinds of stuff.
I
Huh?
bet it. I bet you when that happened, you probably had an even deeper appreciation for the work that
Oh,
she was doing at
listen,
home, man.
listen. I will tell this to all married couples right now because you hit the nail. You hit the nail. Not that I did not appreciate my wife, but when we do what we do, we in our lane and we just doing what we do. She doing what
Right,
she do,
right.
and I've said, honey, I appreciate you, and there, but not now, whole nother level to that,
Yeah.
whole nother level to doing dishes, even loading the dishwasher, cleaning the kitchen, cooking. I can't find a spice other than salt and pepper to this day still. We got cabinets down there with lazy Susie's that spin. There's 500 different seasonings. I don't know what none of that is. Seasoning salt, pepper, and some lemon pepper. That's all I got. But
That's
there
crazy.
must be 30 different, because she could cook. She was an amazing cook.
Yeah.
So all of that little stuff became a monumental thing for me to learn. And I really felt crazy. Like I'm this old and there's stuff that I just don't know. And
Man.
so
Eh,
it's been, somebody said you should have been YouTubing that or writing a book or, vlogging it probably, but
mhm.
we almost 2 years in. I want y'all to know now, I got my laundry down packed now. I know where the seasonings that I use are at. I've got a little routine, I get my little stuff
Okay.
going.
Okay. That's
I
good, man.
still eat out pretty much
Yeah.
every day, but there are times when I just want some home cooked meals. I'm so tired of every
Yeah.
restaurant in Atlanta. I done ate at all of them. And so
Man.
sometimes I'll just come home and try and whip something up. And then baby girl, Michaela, does do a little cooking from time to time. She saves me. But I'm learning how to be single,
Hey, you know what? I heard you the other night, you and I were talking, and I heard you the other night say,
Uh-huh.
Michaela, I need you to get your clothes out of the dryer.
There you go. So I'm
I
I'm
heard
I'm
you.
in it because you two people can't be in there working. If you're
Yeah,
done,
I
keep
heard
it
you.
moving. This ain't the staging room. They need to come
Yeah.
out of here, go fold them somewhere else because I'm coming in. I'm coming in hot. I need to hit the washer, then I need to hit the dryer, then I need to go fold them, then I need to go put them away. I didn't even know those
Man.
stages existed. Now here's the other
TC,
one.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Last
No,
one
go
on the
ahead.
laundry. I bought, um, you know, we bought these Samsung washers and dryers probably about 10 years ago. And of course, you know me, I'm techie. I like all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
My God, I go in this laundry room a couple years ago, and for the first time, I'm really paying attention. Dude, you need an engineering degree to start this washing machine. There must be 25 buttons on this thing. I come from the last time I was fooling with some laundry, it was a white machine and a knob I just turned and said wash, and that was that. And then the dryer said on. And I go in here and pay attention to these things, truly pay attention for the first time. I know what I bought years ago, but I don't run them. And the dryer's got 20 buttons, and the washer, I was just like, can we just wash a load of clothes? So everything is new to me. And I get tickled sometimes thinking about how blind I was doing what I do. And she was doing what she did. And it just worked.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's been an interesting journey, and I'm figuring some stuff out. Some days in the midst of grief, truly standing when you're having a moment and you're doing laundry and you're thinking about how she did something, and now all of a sudden you can't see because you're crying folding laundry, or
Man.
you're thinking about being in her space. I'm cooking, I'm doing something she used to do. Anytime I'm like totally in her space, sometimes you have a moment and you have
Right.
to process that moment, go through it in order to really heal from grief. I can tell you the first year I just ran.
Yeah.
Literally, I flew, I worked, I just ran for like a
Mhm.
year,
Mhm.
and then it caught up with me. And so
Yeah.
I would advise anyone in the early stages of this to be kind to your body and know that you cannot go around grief. You must go through it
And
in order
that
to
leads
heal.
to a great question. Let me I got a really deep question. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna say it's deep, but I got a good question for you though.
Okay.
Um, what does grief feel like, and do you feel it in a certain part of your body? I mean, what does grief
Yeah.
feel like? Like, is it is
So,
does it like crush your heart? Does it give you
yeah.
a headache? I mean, do you feel it in a certain part of your body?
Yeah. It is it's weird. And I can speak for myself because grief, I believe in its own way is also very individual, because as you talk to people,
Mhm.
we'll all kind of have a different spin on this thing.
Right,
The
right.
overarching process is still the same, but there's levels, there's all kinds of factors, and it's the individual that
Hmm.
really determines how grief sits on you. I have felt it in multiple ways. There are days where I just feel heavy. The loss is just heavy. And at that point, it's mentally and sometimes physically that your body is just heavy. I only ached when I lost her. So a lot of people don't know she was in hospice for like the last 2 weeks, and we were there. My girls are so amazing. They literally never left her side from the time she was in the hospital. The last 30 days of her life, and all of my daughters camped out, and they just made provisions for us. Wherever it was like, okay, they're not gonna leave. They were like, we're not leaving. So it was like, okay, we only need 4 beds, and you gonna need whatever. They're
Hmm.
not leaving her. So the hospital fell in love with my whole family. I had nurses who came to Connie's funeral, doctors who were
Wow.
calling me after the fact, and
Wow.
all of them fell in love with my family. And they were like, we've never
Right.
seen a family that dedicated. My daughters never left her side. I had to come back and forth to the house because I had 15 people at my house
Right. Right.
that were in town. And so each night before I would leave, I'd leave 12, 1 o'clock. Um, the last 3 nights of her life were the only times I've felt pain, grief in my body. Because here's the other thing, and we can kind of get into this a little bit with the time we've got. Two different stages of grief. There's preemptive grief, I learned about. That's when someone is passing slowly and you're the caretaker and you're getting to a point of where the reality has set in that this person might leave you. Your body starts preemptive grieving, and that's a process where you're in your mind, you're working out, oh my God, this could be real. This person really might not pull through this, and the reality starts setting in. Oh my God, how will I live without them? How will I? All that gets very real. It's no longer a comment. Because if I said today, if Anita died tomorrow, what would you do? You'd be, oh, I would make it. I'd just be done. You get beyond preemptive grieving. You're done with that because now it's about to get real. So now you're coming home looking at life insurance policies, looking at living wills and testaments. And I can tell you, when I was doing that in those last weeks, I felt guilty that I had given up on her. The fact
Wow.
that I had to honestly say, what if she don't make it? Like, what am I going to do? What happens? I had to one day come home and just get my life together, open up the safe and look at our living will and testament that I did 20 years ago and ain't looked at since. But
Wow.
that last week, it almost feels like I say 3 days, but I'm thinking I'm like Christ getting up out the grave, right?
Mm.
3 days. Listen, I came home 3 days prior. I laid down. I woke up in the worst pain from my head. I thought I needed to go to the hospital from my head to my toe, aching, just aching. I could not get back to sleep. I ached for hours in my bed. Finally, 5, 6 in the morning, the aching would stop and I'd go back to sleep. Second night, same thing. Went home, feeling fine all day long, got into bed, and it's the bed where you feel the biggest void, where you can't touch someone who has been here all your life. I told
Yeah,
my
you can't kick a
friends,
leg. You can't put your foot over there and
listen,
and
listen,
touch.
out of
Yeah.
all the stuff that I'm going to tell you, even these 3 days of excruciating pain, and then the last day before she passed, that pain stopped, and I've never had it again. But
Mm.
even with those 3 days, and it was like my body was separating from her. It knew she was leaving, and I ached. Every part of my body ached. But the single thing that I miss most from a intimacy perspective, not literally having intercourse, but just her foot touching my leg in bed every night.
Man.
Something we all deal with because we got wives with
Mhm.
cold feet, and we used to
Yeah.
laugh about it and joke about it. I'd be like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I can't." And she'd be like, "Be still." She would just
Yeah.
come over there anyways and lay in the back of, "Be still." I got to get to sleep, and I'd be fussing, kind of like halfway serious because her feet be cold. I would cut my arm off.
Yeah.
To have that.
Yeah.
It's the littlest things. It's not the big stuff. And this is why I tell people, if you're in a marriage, a relationship, be careful getting caught up in all the other stuff. That's not what you're going to miss. The cars, the houses, the stuff, that's not what you're going to miss. It's the littlest things that you're going to miss. I have a pair of silk pajamas that she used to wear. So first of all, a month after this, I was just trying to function, and coming into the house was tough. Going to my bedroom became a nightmare because everything was still in its place. Her dresser, going to the bathroom, her vanity, everything, all her clothes, everything was still in its place.
Wow.
And I was just, again, here's something I never thought about. I was just struggling. Some days were good because I felt her presence, but the more time went on, it just ached me knowing that all of those things would remind me of her not being there. So my daughters finally said, "Dad, they was like, you need to go, you need to do something." I had a business trip that I wasn't gonna go on. They was like, "Go, you need to go." And so I went out to Consumer Electronics Show out in Vegas. And while I was gone, and they told me, "We're gonna take care of mom's things while you're gone." So while I was gone that week, and of course when I leave, I'm looking at the stuff and I'm crying because I'm looking at it. I'm all mixed up. I want it to be here. I don't want it to be here. So I was telling him I cried when I left. And then when I came home, they had cleaned everything.
Wow.
Everything was gone. And then I cried because it was gone. And I think it was Kelly, my oldest daughter, said, "Dad, now you can't have it both ways. Now we can either leave it or we can do something with it, but you can't have it both ways." And
Yeah.
I said, "I'll be all right." So it is all gone. And my bedroom is still the same, and the vanities, and I finally got to have the walk-in closet back, which I lost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was so big. I'm like, "That's an office in there." I'm like, "That's why she used to be in here so much." So I get to use the walk-in closet now
Yeah.
and come out of my office closet. But it was a really shocking feeling to not have her stuff. But I was going to tell you, I found, I don't know how it got there, a set of silk pajamas in one of my drawers.
Mm.
And her scent is all over them.
Oh, wow.
So of course I've refused to wash them, and
Yeah.
I've folded them and left them in a drawer. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of weird that there have been times where I would just smell her top and
Yeah.
and feel better. I'd have a day, and then I would just smell her silk top, and then I'd fold it back up and put it in the drawer, and then I was good that day. So
Yeah.
it's little stuff.
Amazing.
Little stuff.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Amazing. It's crazy, TC. Because you just said that. It's amazing how the smallest things, when you have them, they
You
don't
overlook
really
them.
mean much. It's
Yeah.
not until you lose that
Mm.
small thing that it begins to mean, you understand how much that really means. My wife
Yeah.
tells me all the time when we're in the bed, because my wife, she's physical touch. That's her love
Mhm.
language. It's
Me
physical
too.
touch.
That was my love language.
And,
That is my love language.
and,
Yeah.
and my wife is always, this is her thing. She says this all the time. "Babe, I need some skin. I need to feel your skin."
I love
I
that.
need to feel your skin. So
I
I
love
throw a
that.
leg over, put my foot on her or something. But it's always I need some skin,
Yeah, that was
I
me.
appreciate you saying that because
Yeah,
that's a small thing now because she's here. But
yeah,
man, I'm thinking about as
bro.
you when if I should lose that,
Yeah.
I can't put a leg over. I got a question for you though, TC.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going through grief,
Mm-hmm.
everybody seems to have some advice.
Mm.
And for some people, it's just difficult for them to come and sit with you in silence. Don't say
Yeah,
nothing. Just be there with you. Don't have to say a
yeah,
thing. And it's difficult because we always feel like we have to say something.
yeah.
What is the best advice you had? And what was the worst thing somebody said during that process?
Um, I think the best was,
Or the most helpful?
yeah. First of all, I want to mention counseling to everybody. I'm here to tell you, if you're going through this without professional counseling, you're doing yourself a major, major injustice. And I've said this on somebody else's podcast. No disrespect to your pastor or any other clergy that are around you. Keep them. Go get you some real professional. This is what I went to school to do. I counsel people on this all the
Right.
time. This is all I do. That guy with some letters behind his name. You need a real professional counselor to get through this. This and marriage in general. I'm huge on that. And I know we in the Black community don't like airing our stuff, and we think counseling is going to see our pastor only, and that's where it ends. I say
Mhm.
you are doing yourself a serious injustice if that's where it ends for you. So for me, we have always had this. Every one of my daughters has their own counselor. We've had 3 or 4 counselors throughout all of our marriage. And my current, at that time, marriage counselor also was certified in grieving. So it was beautiful that he could transition from seeing both of us to now dealing with me and getting me through it. The best advice he gave me, I'll give you 2 pieces of advice he gave me. The first was, you need to be very clear that grieving is your own story. Don't let anyone influence how you grieve. There's no timeline when you got to be done. There's no time when you got to start. There's no way you got to act. None of it. No one should dictate to you how you grieve, because we will grieve individually as individual people. So I know you're looking at somebody saying, they are already out kicking it, doing whatever. I don't even believe it. That you ain't in them shoes. Some of that kicking it is to stand on your 2 feet. You need to keep moving.
Right.
So
Right.
he freed me because it just as sure as he said it, I had to move in a certain way to keep my sanity. Part of that was getting back on the plane, going to work, getting back on the plane, doing the stuff that I do, moving and grooving. And yeah, some of it caught up, but I don't know if I would have made it had I just sat here in this house and let those dark days take me. So the best advice he gave me was, A, never let anyone dictate to you how to grieve. You grieve at your own pace,
Mhm.
your own time, and there's no right and wrong way to do it. The second was, and I won't really get into this too much because I'm still new at it, when I began trying to get outside of myself and date. So I haven't really dated per se. I've got a friend that I keep really close. But in the beginning, when you're just trying to, meet people, go to dinner, blah, 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 all good, very strange to me after being with somebody that long.
Mhm.
And quite frankly, took a lot in me to be okay. Because your whole life is, be careful how much you talk to women, be careful what you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
watch your eyes, you know
Yeah.
even when you with your boys and we talking,
That's
we
right.
doing man stuff. That was about the highlight of it. We talking about, we ain't finna do nothing. Okay, oh, it's 11 o'clock, I'm on my way to house,
Gotta
we ain't
go.
doing nothing. That's all we doing is talking. So when you go from talking about it to being able to be about it. And
Yeah.
I've gone back and told all my boys, I'm like, listen, y'all, I know we talk a lot of trash, but bro, this ain't no fun trip out here. This
Yeah.
thing, what? And so I was struggling in the beginning, just feeling comfortable having conversations with people. And so, of course, I shared it with my counselor. Best second piece of advice for anybody, especially if you're trying to move forward and bring people back into your life, and you're having feeling some kind of way. He shared with me that, look, he says, it's normal for you to feel that way, but you also need to know it's normal for you to think the way you're thinking, because you're now a single man. And you need to know that ultimately there's nothing wrong with you and even your ability to move forward, because you completed your contract. He said marriage is a
Your
covenant
covenant. You
and a
completed your
contract.
covenant.
It's a covenant and a contract. At the end of the day, the contract or the covenant said, till death do
Do
you
us
part.
part. Right.
And at that moment, you are clear, free, that no judgment, you're a different person. And you really, when I tell you you really are a different person at that moment. Now, for some people that takes longer than others. For me, I needed to hear that, to know that it was okay to let my feelings go the way they were going, which felt so strange and odd to me, and probably not so good in the beginning when I was meeting people, because I was just so like, where am I going with this? So
TC,
I had to discover what that freedom was like, and then try to learn to build on
I remember you telling me, you said, Matt, it's hard to do this because I almost feel like I'm cheating on Connie.
I felt guilty.
Yeah, you felt guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you told me that. Yeah.
Listen, I there's only one person, and she knows who she is, who's been to this house.
Yeah.
For 2 years, I could not have nobody in my. I'm like,
Right.
this is Connie's house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, you can't come over. It's like, and then if you're meeting somebody for the first time, they're like, okay. But most people that I've dealt with were very mature women, and they understood. And it was nothing. I've not done anything serious anyway, so
Right.
it was like,
Good.
up front, hey, here's where I'm at. First of all, do you even want this baggage? Because I am fully broken
Yeah.
and just trying to figure out what the next move is. Don't do, it's like Wizard of Oz. Don't look at what you see. It's all smoking, the
Yeah.
cars, the houses, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm all smoke and mirrors, bro. Because if you pull this curtain back, it's major construction going on back here. It's guys with hats on and saws, and they drilling, they tearing down. That's what's going on inside of me, is this major construction. Yeah.
What a powerful statement, man, to be honest with self,
Got to.
to thy own self be true. What a powerful statement to
Got
say,
to.
because I'm broken.
Yeah, I'm broken.
Man, that's powerful, man, to
Yeah.
be able to admit that and to
Yeah.
understand that that's where you are, or where you was, that
Yeah.
I'm broken. And I don't know if you really want to deal with this, because not everybody is able to deal with
That's right.
that type of brokenness. Man,
It's
that
like a
is tough.
special person.
Let me, because we getting close to our time, but I
Yep.
want to ask you this question here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you wish you had known in those early moments of grief that you can see a little bit clearer now? I ask you again. What do you wish you had known in those early moments of grief that you can see a little bit clearer now?
That God was going to truly have my back.
Wow.
And make it okay someday. I
Yeah.
said it at the funeral. I said, my kids and I are not okay today,
That's right.
but we're going to be okay.
But we're going to be
I
okay.
said that.
I remember that
listened
one.
to the tape. I went,
Yeah.
that's powerful. I said that. But then I lived it. And even in the moment where I had to ask myself, even though God didn't save her, it ain't me asking, he asked me, do you still trust me?
Mm.
When you done prayed the
Mm.
hardest you ever prayed, you done said, Lord, I'll do anything, anything if you just take care of this. And he said no. And then when it happens and you sit in your darkest hour, he says to you, you still trust me?
Mm-mm-mm.
It took all
Mm.
of my humanity to check myself and to dig deep and to get out of my way. And I said, well, if I don't, then I'm just really out here on my own, huh? Then I'm
Yeah.
just doing life on my own. Like, I don't get an atheist. I'm just out here. This thing is just happening to me, and I don't have no power. I had to really process that thing. And I searched deep in my gut, and I said, I trust you.
Wow.
And I was okay from that moment on. I didn't say I understood.
Right.
I
I
said,
trust.
I trust you.
I
I
trust. Yeah.
trust you because I don't understand. I'm a
Yeah.
logical, technical guy. My whole world is about
Yeah.
understanding stuff. I
Yeah.
don't understand why he took her. I don't understand why it happened the way it did. I don't understand what all this will mean for me in the next chapters of my life. But I had enough sense to know it don't matter whether you trust him or not. He got you to this point. He gave you 40 good
Yeah.
years with somebody that you loved. He gave you a wonderful life. He gave you wonderful children. I've had a wonderful life. And
Yeah.
in the midst of it, what I found was what got me through grief, and I'm going to leave y'all on this one. Every day, what gets me through grief is gratitude.
Oh, that's good.
Gratitude. Let
It's
me
good,
tell you how
TC.
quick you shut grief down. When you have your moment, go through it. Cry, do whatever, scream, get in your car, act a fool.
Yeah.
Don't have a bad day. Have a bad moment. And then get yourself together and just start with the simplest things of thanking God. Lord, you know what? In the midst of this grief, thank you for waking me up. Thank you for letting me breathe. Thank you for letting me walk. Thank you for giving me the right mind. Thank you for my job. Thank you for my kids being okay. Thank you for the house of. Do you know you will spend all day long thanking God if you just live in gratefulness? And guess where grief goes? Gone.
Yeah.
I ain't cried a tear yet. Any day I focus on straight gratitude
Mm-hmm.
and just let my mind go. The
Yeah.
simplest stuff that because we did it in our marriages, the simplest stuff. Her feet on my leg, took for granted. Don't do that no more. Thank God
Yeah.
for every single you are nothing without him. You can do nothing with. Now, if you're just not a Christian and you don't believe in what I'm saying, and you can go to another podcast, you can do nothing without him, whether you recognize it or not.
Absolutely
He's still
nothing.
God. He's going to be
Yeah.
God, whether you know it
Yeah.
or not. You can call him what you want. You can flip it any way you want, but it is in your best interest that you recognize who he is and what he has done for you, because when you do that, he'll do more for you. He'll clear up your eyes. He'll take away the grief. He'll take away the sorrow. He'll put you in a state of mind that you didn't even think you could get back into.
Yeah.
That's got to be him. That can't be me.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of strength. So this has made me, as you would imagine, but not all people. Some people curse God and hate God forever when somebody don't, get healed or something. It has made me closer to him in a way that, like a child with a parent. When we're young, we unequivocally trust our parents. When you're 2,
Right.
3, 4, 5 years old, mom
Mhm.
and dad, they are God. If they say it, you don't question it. You just do what that is. Why? Because you just
Right.
unequivocally trust them. It's the same relationship. Although I'm a grown man, halfway intelligent, at least I
Mhm.
think I am, I'm dealing with the Almighty. There's nothing that he doesn't know. So I don't understand the why, and it's okay, because you're not supposed to understand everything on this side of heaven. So it's
Nah.
okay. I don't understand. I'm going to be okay. I am okay, and I can look at where he's already brought me from and know that my future is just as bright as it's ever been. This
Yeah.
was a part of the journey. No one wants
Right.
to accept that.
That's
We
right.
don't want to think about it like that, but clearly it was, because here we are and here I stand.
If it wasn't a part of God's plan for your life, then it wouldn't have happened in your life.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and and
believe that.
and and that can be really tough. I think there's a time to share that with someone, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to know when to say something like that and when not to.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good to hear you say
Yeah,
that was a part of your journey.
of the
and
journey.
and and man, what I really love though is when you talk about praise, because that's what being thankful, gratitude, or praising God,
Yeah.
man, that always propels you beyond your pain.
Listen, I learned from the best. She was the most amazing praise team leader, praise
That's
and
right, she
worship leader.
was.
Everybody who knows her knows that was her thing. I
Yeah.
wasn't here blindly. First of all, every one of them songs y'all heard at church, I had to hear 100 times Saturday night. So y'all heard them Sunday. They sounded perfect. She was downstairs in the studio, or everybody in the house. No, we knew all the songs, all the parts of everything World Changers has ever sung, because Connie had broke them down, sung them, taught all the parts, and then all day Saturday till 1 a.m. Saturday night, we heard those songs. So by
Now till
default,
1 a.m. Sunday morning, 1 a.m.
that Sunday
Sunday.
morning, because
Yeah.
she would be planning, coordinating clothing and sound, and fortunate or unfortunate, of course, I ran media, and so I was the sound, director. And
Yeah.
then me and her would get home and be debating about how sound went. Y'all should have done. I'm like, honey, can we leave it at church? We're either at church. She'll come back to the control room. They supposed to be okay. I got this. So,
Yeah.
but that you can't help but rub off is the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And I understood the power of praise. And I'll tell you a quick story. We got a few more minutes because we started a little late. When we transitioned away from satellite church ministries back in the day, and we were shutting down this location that we had served at for a decade. I built out the sound system and all the audio and media at the Marietta location, and she started and ran praise teams and all kinds of different stuff. They did plays and all this stuff. So we were very much involved. And when it was time to shut that down, we were back there with myself and the pastor, just closing different things down, shutting equipment off, gathering stuff up. And so we're the only ones in the church. And I look out of the control room, and Connie has gone on stage, and she's standing there. We're the only ones in the building, and she's weeping. And I come out of the control room. I go, hey, you all right? And I walk up to her, and she's standing there just looking out into this audience of 800 empty seats now. And she says to me, I can't tell you how many times God healed me singing from this stage to heal other people.
That's right.
And it just blew my mind. She was like, I can't tell you how many times. And so I saw her truly missing that chapter in our life that was closing down. But it was powerful in terms of what praise really does. As the praise leader, that's their job, to usher in, not to perform for you, but to usher in this spirit of praise. And she did that magnificently. My whole entire life, I've seen her do it. And this was the pinnacle of what God had called her to do. I watched her do it every Sunday. And to think about the fact that she was being blessed by what she was doing, literally reciprocating what she was putting out in real time. I had never heard that, but it was really interesting to hear her say that, and it really galvanized to me the power of being grateful and giving praise in the midst of something. See, it's easy to praise God when everything is good.
Oh man, of
all
course.
Stuff is right. Ooh, thank you, God. I hear people tell me, "Yeah, I'm blessed."
Yeah.
I want you to be that enthusiastic
when the bottom falls out.
When it just ain't nothing working out like you thought. When the worst thing in life is happening to you,
Hmm.
that's when I need you to say, God, I still trust you. God, I'll
Amen.
still praise you. God, thank you for getting me up today. Thank
Yeah.
you for my coffee. Thank you for my jelly. Thank you for my peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah.
That's when I need you to praise him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very good, man. That's
Yeah.
very good. Man, listen, I don't know if we have a few minutes, man, if somebody wants to come on and share TC, man, but
Yeah.
this, as I had already said prior to the show,
Yeah.
that this was going to be a great show, because I know that there are people that's online right now that probably have
Yeah.
experienced maybe not the loss of a spouse, but they've experienced the
Yeah.
loss of a loved one. And
Children. I
somebody,
see a couple of people that I know
yeah,
personally who
and
have lost
somebody,
children who are in the chat.
exactly. So someone is probably still grieving right now, because as you said, grief doesn't have a time limit. I mean,
No.
you can't tell
It's
somebody when to stop.
different levels of it. It gets
Right,
better.
right.
Time
But
absolutely heals wounds, but I I I don't believe there's a time limit. I think anybody out here going through it could agree that it ain't like one day you wake up and that's just never there
right,
again. I
right,
believe that it is for life, but it is, as a friend of mine said, be careful with that. Don't make people think you're just gonna be, ready to commit suicide for life. No,
right,
there are different levels. It's going to get better. You're gonna deal with it differently. You're gonna basically, it'll evolve and take on different shapes. But it is still grief, and it can come at any moment. Something can trigger it. You can be having a great day, just hear a song, something could run past your mind. You could see something. I've gone into restaurants that I hadn't been in,
hmm,
and the last time I was there, I was her. And it's just like, boom,
right,
that moment hits you. So everybody processes it differently.
right,
There are different levels and there are different intensities to it,
right,
depending on who it was that was lost, the time they were lost,
right,
and how you what state you're in. What age are you when this is happening? Imagine a
right,
child losing a parent when you're 7, 8, 9, 10. It's very
hmm,
different to lose a parent when you're 50. So
right.
grief is just
You,
all of this stuff.
and let's go ahead and bring somebody on. But I want to say this to you,
Yeah.
TC. This is what
Uh-huh.
people may not know as either, and I hope I have the liberty to say this, is
Uh-huh.
that you were going through your own health crisis while your
Yeah.
wife was going through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had to maintain, I don't choose to get into the details of that here, but I've had to maintain, in the midst of standing through that grief, some health challenges myself
Right.
that truly could have been a deciding factor for me as far as being able to just be there for her. So it's one
Yeah.
thing to be a caregiver, another thing to be a caregiver while you're going through it. And I've had to do that as well. And so this is where uh, supporting cast like family absolutely makes the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Knowing someone is there that can still be there for you in the midst of
Right.
it, because in that at that time, not only do you need help, but you're more focused on the loved one.
Right.
You're like, I'm trying to make sure they good, but at the same time, you already know you're supposed to put your mask on first on the plane before you put your baby's mask on,
Yeah.
right? So
Y-
they tell you that in a heartbeat. If the plane should drop in altitude and the oxygen mask come down,
Yeah.
don your own mask first, then check on your children. Now,
You.
if you don't understand the methodology in that,
Yeah.
you mess around and put your baby's mask on, fall unconscious and die.
Yeah.
And now the baby over here done took her mask off trying to get to you. Not both of y'all did.
Right.
Anything
Right.
can happen, right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a reason for that.
Yeah. You were the wounded healer, man. I told
Wounded
you about that
healer. I
book.
like
I told
that.
you about that book I read some years ago. It's called The Wounded Healer. And
Uh-huh.
the author says that he says that we really don't have time to really tend to our own wounds. We have just enough time to bandage it up, and get
Yeah.
back out in the field to help those who are wounded or hurt worse than we are. So,
Hmm.
your wife was going through, you had your own health challenges, but you had just enough time to deal with yours, not probably not as deep as you wanted to, because you had to tend to your wife, man. And
Correct. And
man.
it's one of those situations. I'll say this as we're waiting to see if somebody wants to join. Bottom line is, in the chat, I've put in an actual link for anyone who has got some up close and personal experience in this area that you want to be on camera and share. If not, continue to just use the chats to communicate.
I
I'm
hope
going to
someone
also
comes on.
drop
I
this
really
chat
like to hear
over on
someone.
our YouTube channel, which we're now trying to broadcast and get
Yeah.
people to go over there as much as possible. So please go out and like and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Conversations with Uncle T. But you know, if this is something that you would like to join in on with some live conversations, I just want to make it available to you.
Man, I really hope somebody comes on and share an experience. Wow. So
Yeah,
Valerie
I
Crosby,
see a
is
couple
that
of
a
people
friend of
that I
yours,
know their
TC?
personal
Valerie
stories that
Crosby?
I'm not gonna share. I'm gonna let them do that. What'd you say?
Valerie Crosby, is that's a friend? Is that a friend of
Valerie
yours?
is my cousin. Let me
Ah,
see.
okay.
Going through it, very helpful. Love you, cuz. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my cousin.
Okay.
Hmm. See a lot of folks out here. Emily says she'll join. So Emily, if you'll click on that link, I will ultimately see you, and then I will bring you into my room. And we are 17 after the hour. Once again, we had some technical stuff going on, y'all. So we want to keep these comments short so that I can try to make this thing a 60-minute show so people can say, I can join, because I know they're gonna keep it at 60. Because last week I think we was 90 something, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so
We
much fun.
went all the
So
way over last week, man.
yeah.
But it was good.
I see a lot of good things here. Thank you so much, Natasha. You've been so helpful with a lot of your comments, and we loved talking with you last week. I hadn't seen you in a
Oh,
while. My
Tasha's on
buddy
there
Brian
again tonight?
Panico, that's another brother from another mother out on the West Coast. A lot of good friends in here. Of course, my girl Cherise, who is like a niece for real to me. Delia, my other cousin. Yeah, we got some good folks in here. And then I see Casey. We go way back. Her husband and I were business partners for many years, and she is like family to me. And Angela Brown, Lord knows we got history in between the families. My Aunt Dorothy is back on again. So great to see you. Yeah, Sharice, you know I've been on T before it was popular. You better tell them. T-Mobile, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see anybody popping into my room. If you've clicked on that and I missed it, I don't think I have. But I was just, we're using a new platform, as we talked to you guys about. This platform is now simultaneously broadcasting to both YouTube and Facebook. We'd like for you guys to begin using the YouTube page as much as possible, sharing the YouTube page as much as possible. That way people don't have to have Facebook, don't have to know me to be able to actually join. And that's ultimately where we'll develop the business side of the podcast. It needs to be on YouTube, where we can actually drive traffic for anyone, and it'll ultimately be able to come up as another YouTube or another podcast. All right, Emily is in the back room. Emily, if you want to kind of get situated, I'll give you a second before I bring you on, and we'll allow her to share some comments here.
I
And
see
I
a good
got
friend. I
our
see a
dear
good
friend
friend of mine who's.
Natasha's in the green room.
I
See, I
see a
love
good.
this new app, so y'all don't even know. I can see all these people before I bring them on.
Yeah, I actually see a good friend of mine, man. She's more like family. Dahlia Hartford. I see that she's watching, and
Do
just
you know
want.
what? I thought that was my cousin's wife. I missed that
Yeah,
name.
yeah, Dahlia, man. I've known Dahlia. I'm 58. I'll be 59 next month, and I've known Dahlia 59 years.
Wow, wow,
But just
wow.
I'm glad to see that she's on. Dahlia lost her father a few years back, and so um,
Okay, I feel you.
I,
All right,
I
so
I
we're gonna
know.
bring on a couple of guests here. Let's try and be mindful of time, y'all. We are 8:20. We're 20 over, but I'd love to hear your comments on the show or any comments that you have on the topic. I'm gonna start with Emily,
Yeah.
and she is coming in now. How are you? How are you?
Hey everybody.
Hey,
Good to
Hey.
see you.
Oh man, you are so brave. And listen, to be able to come on here and just be so transparent is so beautiful. It takes
Thank
a
you.
real heart to be vulnerable. And that doesn't take
Yeah.
strength, that takes heart. Because
Yeah.
not only are you sharing something so intimate and sensitive, but you're allowing yourself to just be real and open in
Yeah.
such a way that most people will never because they're afraid. You're
Yeah.
being intimate with us. Look into me and see
Yeah.
my heart and my journey. Um, and I think that's just kudos. I love that. I love that. So I won't be too long. I just wanted to shine a little light on the subject of grief. My husband and I, on our journey of increasing our family, went through
Hmm.
two miscarriages. And I know a lot of women who have
Mm.
gone through way more. But along
Yeah.
for my journey, two was the max for my heart capacity of grief,
Mm.
of wanting a child, but keep hitting this brick wall and wondering, is this something that God wants for us, or is this something we want? And I really had to pause and think, why grieving? Why
Mm.
do I want this child? Is this an idol? Is this just to say I have this man child? Or do I really just have a desire to have more kids? Really had to pause and
Yeah.
think about that while grieving. And the Lord just walked me through that journey of longing for something that seemed out of reach, that seemed unattainable,
Yeah.
to understand that it might not be for right now, but it's not a no forever. So walking that through from
Right.
2017 to 2018, and then finally getting that confirmation from the Lord, 2018, and then now getting pregnant 2019, and seeing
Mm.
His words manifest and unfold in our lives, and then
Awesome.
his words, you will get pregnant, you will have a son. That was my prayer. I made it plain. Will I get pregnant? Will I have a son? Um, should we shut this down? And
Mm.
give me closure. Either way, I want closure,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be so fixated on something that is not of your will, and that takes a huge, huge step back of saying, God, I'm surrendering this to you, because if I
Yeah.
have it my way, who knows? And just to give a little backdrop in between the years, 2017, my husband had a dream that I died while giving birth. And then
Mm.
2018, the Lord allowed me to hear the heartbeat of the child. Because these was our questions. Lord, what would have happened? My husband's question was, what would have happened if she would have had the baby? He gave him a dream. I would have died
Yeah.
on the table, giving birth. And then my question was, I didn't even get to hear the heartbeat, where I got to hear heartbeat. And so through grief, God gives you supernatural nuggets and opportunities to see and endure and incur things that in the natural may would never. I got to see him
Yeah.
in such a manner, experience him in such a manner that I hadn't for a very, very long time. So
I
we
think
have,
you said something really powerful there in terms of as we go through grief, how God gives us this
supernatural nuggets.
supernatural sort of insight on
Right,
things.
yes.
I was sharing
right.
with Matt. Some people have asked me, where do you get your strength? How do you get up and keep going? And I've shared before on another
It is a
podcast that
reserve.
there's a
It
reserve.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reserve. There's something that he puts in you that you can only get to it when it's time. And
I
so
mean
that's
Right,
why
that.
when people say, "Oh my God, if I
right.
lost my spot, I would die. I would know what to do." In your current state, you say that. But when
Yeah.
it happens, he opens a door that you couldn't get into before. And
Mm-mm.
in there is energy and strength and
Yes.
fortitude and all stuff that you didn't even know was in you. He's already put in you and
Yes.
set it aside for
Hmm.
such a time. That's how it works. That's
Yes.
what's happened to me. Because if someone had asked me this 3 years ago, my God, I'd have been like, if she die, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna just lay down and die. You know what I'm saying? And yet here we stand. So Emily,
Yes.
thank you so much for those words. I want to try to get
Thank
Natasha
you.
in here as we look at this as this time moves along. It's so
Thank
All
you
good
right,
to
guys
see
for
Emily.
you
having
again.
me.
It's been a little
All
bit,
right,
but I
Emily. Nice
appreciate
meeting
you
you.
joining and following.
Bye bye.
All right, home team. Let's see if we can get her up here. Adding her to the stage.
Oh, wow. Can you hear me?
Sasha.
Sandusky.
That's what's up, home team. Home
Yeah,
team. What's going on,
Sandusky. Hey,
girl?
hey, hey, Natasha, I did get your text message too.
Okay.
And hopefully the four of us, you and your husband and my wife and I, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to connect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good
So
deal.
when you talk about, when you talk about grief, of course, I've not lost a spouse,
Yeah.
but everybody knows that I was Floyd Woodard's
Yeah.
only baby.
Yeah.
And I was grateful and blessed to have him almost 90 years. He died 30 days before his 90th birthday.
Yeah.
And went in for regular routine procedure. They didn't turn out so well. And so
Mm.
after about 4 weeks of ICU, and now mind you, I'm planning a wedding during this whole time.
Wow.
And he went in for a procedure, outpatient procedure. Some things went wrong. They called and said, your dad is a DNR, DNI. If you want to see him, you need to get here. I said, well, I got to fly to get
Yeah.
there, and I need y'all to keep him alive
Yeah.
long enough because I didn't want my father to die by himself. But one of the
Right.
things that was so amazing to me about my father was that he was a giant to me, and even in the forest of trees, he's
Mm.
still the tallest tree.
Mm.
My
Yeah.
love for my husband, my love for my children, my love for my grandson, that is a different type of love, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I did and still do grief
Yeah.
counseling. And one of the things that I said to my counselor, and he's African American, not saying that you have to do an African American. I just think culturally, for me, it was
Culture,
what I
male.
needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, I said, I feel as though I have this entire weight of love. All of
Mm.
this love. He was my first love.
Mm.
And
Yep.
you have three
That's
girls. So you
parenting.
want your girls to be able to say that about you.
Four.
Absolutely.
So he has set the bar and the example for
Right.
me. And so I said to the counselor, I said, I have this enormous weight of love in my heart. And it sometimes is suffocating
Mm.
because I feel like I have no place to give it. I
I
can't
think
give it
that's
to
one of
my
the
husband.
definitions behind grief.
Yes, I can't give it to my husband because it's
Yeah.
not that love.
Yeah.
And I can't give it to my children
It
because
only
it's not
belongs to
that.
them. Yep.
And
Only
so
belongs to that person.
he said to me,
Yeah.
then give it back to yourself.
Oh, that's right.
Every day, give some of that love back to yourself because you have done all that you could do.
Yeah.
Floyd was ready. He said, I give up the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
And he said, I
Yep.
know you may not be ready,
Yeah.
but I am ready. And so it has been a difficult journey,
Yes.
a journey that I knew one day we all gotta exit, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. You can't
We
come
all
home and
got a
not leave.
date,
Yep.
but not many can say they lived to be almost 90,
Yeah.
lived on their own, still was driving, still was golfing, still was
Yeah.
cooking.
Living.
So I've been
Living.
tremendously blessed
I love that.
in just learning to love life and filling the void with I know that he would not have wanted. It was not his desire for me to be unhappy. It was not his desire for me to mourn him in a way that crippled me.
Right.
And it took me a while once I made the decision for hospice. I struggled because I was like, did I
I
do
know that
everything I should
feeling.
have done? Did I,
Yeah.
should I wait it? Did I, so it
Yeah.
was, I
You
mean,
feel
I
like you gave
shared,
up on them.
yep. I
I
carried the
know.
guilt.
I know.
I
I know.
carried the guilt of, did I do everything I was
Yeah.
supposed to do, even though I was honoring his wishes?
Yep.
But
Yep.
did I do everything to make sure this was the only option left?
Yeah.
And so part of it is forgiving yourself, right? I had to
It
forgive
is.
myself for even having those thoughts. I had to learn
Yeah.
to forgive myself
Yeah.
for doubting,
Mm-hmm.
because he had left a path, he had left a roadmap of
Yeah.
how he wanted to go.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to follow it.
I know.
I didn't want to follow it, but he left a roadmap. He
L-
he
I
lived
will say this.
literally.
I haven't shared my mom's passing much. I'll say this as we get ready to wrap. But, Tasha, mom, her situation came up so fast, so quick. But the unique thing about my amazing mom, not only was she a nurse for 52 years, but the last 10 years of her life, she was a hospice nurse. So she
Uh,
she she understood this death thing. And she was many things. Not only was she a minister and a licensed master therapist and a counselor and all
oops,
kinds of
you're
stuff.
circling on me.
She yeah, it should probably come back up.
It did.
Um, she absolutely understood the whole journey of life and death. And she had called me in June when she got this diagnosis, and calm as a cucumber, and said, hey, this is what they said. But first, we're not gonna just take the words of man. We're gonna trust God.
Right,
Secondly, once we go on and get these tests and confirm this, if that's what it is, then we're gonna fight. I told him I want everything you got. We're gonna
right.
do what we need to do. And then she said, and if that doesn't work, then you need to be clear
Prepared.
that I want no pity parties, and that if I should go, it is the correct order. I do not
Yes.
want any of you falling apart about burying me, because that's how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to
Right.
bury me. I'm
Me,
not
not the
supposed
other
to
way
bury
around.
you.
Amen.
So
Amen.
she said, and then here's the final piece. The minister, Dorothy Kent, said to me, and I will never forget this. She said, first of all, what I look like being afraid of dying.
Of death.
I have
Mhm.
lived my saved life
Life.
for 60 some odd years. If you really are saved and you really believe this Christian thing and you're really walking this
Yeah.
thing for real, then you're passing through. You're about to
This is just,
go
this is
where
right.
you've been preparing for the whole time.
Very
She said,
good.
so I'm
It's
confused by people who are afraid to die, who have lived their lives as Christians. She blew me away. I had to pull the car over. I was
so
like, like mom, she was like, I am so good.
right.
If
That's
Lord
what's my
say that this
dad.
is not gonna work
That's
here
right.
and it's
With my
time to go,
time.
then it's time to go.
So
And she
Terrence, I
did
mean,
just that.
not
Did just
only
that.
did it was like he was 4 weeks in ICU, just 3 days in 3 days in hospice. We did inpatient hospice 3 days.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he said to me was, "Baby girl, are you gonna be okay?" And at
Mm,
that time, it was just me and my fiance. It was my fiance.
mm-hmm,
He said to my fiance, "I just need to know one thing.
mm.
I need to know she gonna be taken care of, and know that she's spoiled. I did it.
I did
She's
all mine
stubborn.
like that.
I did it.
I did it.
Right? It's all me.
I did it.
But I need to know
Yeah.
that if I give up the Holy Ghost, that you got
Yeah.
her."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Mr. Woodard,
I
I
got it.
got her, I got her kids, I got the
Yeah.
grandbaby, I got it all." But I'm gonna tell you something that was so shocking. I hadn't gone home. So I stayed at Cleveland Clinic
Yeah.
on the campus. And so the day we had transferred him to hospice, I still hadn't gone home.
Mm.
So my dad passed on a Tuesday. I sang him into glory.
Mm-hmm.
So about 6:20, I guess it was. Then I go home for the first time.
Mm.
He had two suits with a note
Yeah.
and said, "Tell the children," meaning his grandkids, "to pick out one of these two. Everywhere I walked in the house, he had laid out, here's all the insurance policies. We had a
Yep.
save. He had
My
laid
mom
out,
did the same
this is
thing.
what you do. And
Yep.
I'm just, so he knew
Mom
six
did that.
weeks prior to that,
Yeah.
that he wasn't
Hmm.
coming back home. He wasn't coming back to that home. He was
That
going
house.
home.
That's
Right. He
right.
was going
He going
home.
home for
So
real.
God said, we're going to heal you. He just
Yeah.
chose not to heal him on this side of
This
glory.
side. There you
This
go.
side. He healed him.
That's right.
It just wasn't on this side of glory.
That's right.
And it's our flesh
Yeah.
that struggles with the physical because we
Yeah.
just want to see the physical. You want to see
Them.
my dad
Hmm.
suffer,
As we know.
but I wanted to
Yeah.
see that laughter and all of that. And so
Right.
it
Yeah.
is a process. And I tell people, you're right. We come from a generation where we don't go to counseling and we
Yep.
don't talk. Let's not
Yep.
talk about this. But it is so helpful
It is.
to be able to express feelings that you want to keep down.
Yeah.
But you
You
know that
want to
if you
bury them.
can't get them out right,
Yeah.
if you can't get them out, you can't grow or move forward.
Yeah.
And that's not what, like you said, that's not he. If you're a believer, they're ready.
Yeah.
He
You need
said,
to
baby
check
girl,
yourself. And if you're struggling with that question, you need to go get in the mirror and
right.
really, 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 otherwise, don't play with
E-
this thing. If you
Evaluate
really, really
yourself.
believe
Right.
this, then you got to be able to put yourself in that frame of mind and
That's
know
right.
that when God say it's time, it's time.
It's
And ain't
time.
nobody trying to leave, and I don't want nobody to leave.
Right.
But if the process, and it will, ain't no if,
Right.
when the process winds up, it's like anything
Because we
else.
all
In
got an
business, we call
expiration
it an
date.
exit strategy. You're
Right.
supposed to have
And the
one. You don't start a
expiration, right.
business
Yep.
without a good exit strategy. So it's called life.
And God's timing is his
Tasha,
timing.
let me thank you for being transparent and
Right.
also sharing some great nuggets with us. All of us, if like my mom said, if it happens in the order it's supposed to happen, we will
Amen.
bury our parents. And
Yes.
so that's
That's
one
the
that
order.
is supposed to be the order. And those are great words of wisdom to live by in terms of how to deal with some of those things as we get there. We're at 8:37. Matt, I said
60
yesterday.
minutes.
I'm gonna stop coming on because I feel like I'm
60
the only
minutes.
It's
person to
too
come on. I
good.
ain't coming on next week.
Yes, you are. but I have no regrets on anything. Anybody who can't
Right.
watch the whole stream at one time, watch half of it and come back later. This gonna be another 90-minute episode, but it's all
Yeah.
good. Tasha, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Tasha.
Continued blessings for you and the new
I
husband
keep
over
you in
there.
prayer. I
When I get to
definitely keep you
Texas, I'm coming
lifted in
through. I
prayer.
promise.
Come on.
I promise. Yeah, we gonna sit in that backyard and I'm gonna do some putting on that little golf course.
Go that
All
that was
good.
his thing. We call it the Floyd putt putt.
All right, till next time. We'll chat.
All right,
Y'all be
Tasha.
blessed.
All
All
right.
right. All right, Matt, let's get ready to wrap this thing up, man. As you've said all week, man, this is gonna be a crazy, crazy,
Yeah.
great show, and it turned out to be just that. Just the mere fact that we had great interaction. Yeah, we're gonna work on our timing, but my gosh, when it get good, it's just hard to. Now I know why church used to last so long, right?
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
us, our
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
They're like, we're still at church
Yeah.
at 7. We came at 11 this morning.
It's
Uh,
2 o'clock. It's time to.
Are they singing another song? Oh no.
Hey, you know what?
What's up?
One thing that I didn't share, and maybe we can pick it up next week or
Okay.
somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
I shared with you the other night that I lost my father, and
Yeah.
that I don't believe that I've grieved the loss of my father because of
Stuff.
I'm hurt by something that was said
Yeah.
by my father, and so I don't know if I've really just grieved that because I've been so really focused on the wrong thing actually, because it was said, it was done, and I should be. And normally I'm able to just move on, man. I don't hold on to stuff, but that bothered me, man. And so I don't know if I had the opportunity to really grieve. But we don't have to hang out here today. Maybe it's something that we can talk about.
I think
some
that's a
other time
worthy
down the road.
conversation. As we've talked
Yeah.
about, this grieving thing has so many levels. I think, something that I really wanted to do more of is, and hopefully we've done a little bit of that today in terms of just dropping some nuggets for
Yeah.
helping people who are in this place. But that's worthy of a show that speaks strictly of some of the ripple effects of grief.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were getting into the other night is there are people who also are grieving who are just downright angry.
Mad.
Either
Yeah,
so
man.
angry with the person who passed, angry with God. In other words, have taken on a form of cancer that is killing them
That's right.
out of the grieving process. So
Mhm.
very unhealthy. And that's another one where we gotta almost go through it to get ourselves out of it. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
should talk about that as we look at our next session development in terms of maybe bringing something back that can dive into those little pieces as well, because the
Yeah.
ripple effect can equally be devastating.
Right. Right.
For sure.
Right.
So look here, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. We are
Yeah.
well over our time, but once again, we're just getting this thing going, y'all. It is what it is. I appreciate you hanging out. If you have to drop off and come back and listen to it, it's all good. Hopefully the conversation was stimulating. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you're beginning to get a little understanding of the flow of things here. And we too are learning. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a little bit of a process. We've got, our traffic now is flowing on 2 sites like we want. We'll continue to fine tune that. And then Matt and I are going to get behind the scenes and build some things out. Love to hear from you guys on future topics, things that you'd love to hear us discuss. And then, we're just going to let this thing organically grow and do what it do. I think we got some big things down the road that
Yeah, we
are
do.
coming.
Yeah, we
And
do.
I'd love for you guys to take this ride with us and end up on the other side of this thing when we get there. So a lot of good stuff. Matt,
Yeah.
anything else on your end?
No, man. I think today's show was everything that we said it was going to be,
Yeah.
plus some. And I do know that people were helped. So I'm just excited about what's to come. I think it's just going to get even better. And matter of fact, those of you who are tuned in live on Facebook, man, go ahead and press that heart button, man. Let us know that you got something
Yeah.
from this, that you enjoyed this,
Yeah.
because we would like to have that encouragement as well. So if you don't mind, if you still logged in Facebook and you watching us live, go ahead and hit the heart button. I don't see any hearts going up yet, but
They
hit the
going
heart
up.
button.
They
Let me
going
know
up.
that you.
Also, make sure
Yeah.
you get over there to YouTube page
YouTube,
and
yeah.
join the channel. I need to get that
Yeah.
subscriber up. So Conversations
please.
at Uncle T on YouTube. Join the channel.
Please,
Share,
please go
tell
there.
a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Please go to YouTube. Now, you said like, share, and what?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Like, share, and
Like, share,
subscribe.
subscribe.
Like,
Yeah.
share, subscribe. YouTube channel. Conversations with
All
Uncle
good
TC.
stuff. All good
Yeah.
stuff.
Great
With that,
deal.
I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. As I've said in the past, for those who didn't hear my first show,
Yeah.
the entire concept of Conversations of Uncle T, I'm dedicating to the most amazing 2 women in my life.
Yeah.
My late wife Connie Caston and my mom Dorothy Kent. And so with that, my closing statement will be the statement that I gave my mom as she passed away, and that is butterflies forever.
Yeah.
I'll tell the story of what that means maybe on the next episode, but my mom was a huge butterfly fanatic, if you will, but there's some really, really important meaning behind it. And today I was thinking about how that has now impacted me as far as what the butterfly lifestyle means, because I think it's happening to me now as well. So I really appreciate her for loving butterflies the way that she did. So you'll hear me say that, and now you'll know where it's coming from. Butterflies forever is going to be my closing caption.
Awesome.
With that, thank you guys for joining.
Yeah.
Have an amazing week. We'll be back next week. Tell a friend. Hope you enjoyed what you heard. And, continue to support and shoot us comments, as well as additional topics that you would like to hear. And with that being said, I'm your boy TC, better known as Uncle T.
Right on.
And next to me is my man Matty Matt. And we thank you guys for joining. Once again, butterflies forever.
Yes, sir. Love you, bro.
Take care, y'all. Yes, sir. Love you more.
Alrighty. Peace.
Peace.